showing the house of Klingon.
Why don't you pull your chair right over here and sit right over here? That would help if you'd hand it to me when I stick my hand out. I sometimes, to get started, I write a little. Our title tonight is called Answers. Someone said jokingly, I don't know the question, how could I know the answer? The answer to all questions is, life is. This to you may be too simple or too profound, for it is both. As one teacher said, from these realms, man makes a given thing complicated to make it worthy of his notice. We speak many words to you in these messages, not to make it worthy of your notice, but to have a greater understanding through these communications. In your language, you say life is. You follow it with many descriptions to explain what life is. Thus entering into labels and duality, keeping the communication in the realm of illusion or untruth. It is time to put away the things of your youth and take on the maturity of the higher calling of your consciousness. As you move through your days, many changes will loom on the horizon of your journey. Continue to remember that the answer is, life is. On any dimension, on any planet, the answer is the same. Life is, you are, I am, God is. As you experience many things on the journey Godward, you will experience many colors, hues, and this is as it is, moving you upward in vibration to the pure light of divine being. All is experienced within, not outward. Ask yourself, where do you experience anything? Is it not within your being? Life is one, not you and I and the others, for we are all one in the only life that is, and for this one life we use the vibration, God. Now if you would fix the lights, people. Could you dim this one a little bit, please? Let's have a quiet time and close our eyes, relax our bodies, and move our thoughts upward into the realms of divine love and light. Turn loose of the thoughts of the day. Bring your full attention to this one moment in this one place. This is a circle of light, and this circle of light is the channel, and each of you is as much of the channel as the one who speaks. For you're lending your life force to this circle. And this circle of light reaches upward to the higher realms of divine love and light. And those who communicate with us are reaching downward, and we meet. There are many higher beings who lend their vibrations to the one who speaks. Thank you, Father. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Don coming to you from these realms of divine love and light, and it is a great joy to see these new ones here this evening and to see your number is a little smaller, but this is fine. We welcome you with open arms of love. We open our hearts and our love to you when you come to this circle. We are open to you at all times, but especially when you come together to make this contact, you are opening up yourselves to a greater vibration than you know, much greater than when you go your path along your earth journey. It is a good subject that we have tonight, and I think a fitting subject for those who are here. There are those who have many answers, and we give you opportunity to ask questions, and we will bring you an answer in your language and not say to you just life is. We will talk to you as you converse and help you to understand. But in the final analysis, my dear ones, remember that there is only one life in all of life, in the whole universe, in the whole cosmos. And that life is the vibration we call God. That life is our life. For the life that you are, each one, and I am, on any dimension or any planet, is the same life that God is. So you see, my dear ones, you are all one. And when you harm another, you harm yourself. When you criticize another, you criticize yourself. When you love another, you are loving yourself, and you are loving life, and you're loving God. On your lower dimensions of illusion, you have many experiences. And this is why you came to these lower dimensions, to have these experiences, to learn and to grow, and to journey in a different way than when you were one with God in the Godhead, or as some of you think of it, the Garden of Eden. As you moved out of the Garden of Eden, you gradually lost contact with your knowing, your full knowing of who you are. And you find yourself in a physical body in these lower dimensions and wonder what life is all about, who I am, why am I here, and where am I going? My dear ones, you already are all that you are. You already are in the kingdom of God, for there is no other place than the kingdom of God. All is the kingdom of God. In your inner images and in your given ability to create as God creates, you create things on these planes of illusion that appear to be this and appear to be that, and appear to be evil or something else. But I tell you, my dear ones, there is no other. It is all the one life, and it is all God. And this is why we use the word illusion so much, is to help you to understand and realize that as you go through your experiences on this dimension or any other dimension, you are experiencing your concept about it. And that happens within you. It does not happen in the outer world. Your experience of whatever happens, for example, as Donald has given the example in your introductory class, if you experience an automobile accident and you have 10 witnesses, you have 10 stories, because everyone experiences everything differently, because we are individuals, even though we are of the one life. We are created in the image and likeness of God, but God has given us an individual being, and we can express this being, for He has given us the free will to do so. And from our past experiences, that have been many, many more than you realize, you have conjured up your concept of what you think life is. And so if you were in high school and to have to write an essay on what life is, you would probably write several pages and describe what your concepts of life and what it is to you, and no other would have the same description. As you move upward to the higher levels of understanding, you drop away the concepts of duality. You drop away the thing called good and evil, large and small, black and white, and you move into an understanding that is already within yourself, that there is only one, and you move into that pure light of God being, the God being that you already are, but you are playing games with yourself, and you are wanting to do this to have different experiences. Why do you do this? The answer is, life is. And when we go back to that, why do you come down to these lower dimensions? You come down to turn yourself off from the understanding of your fullness of life, so that when you move upward, you have a greater understanding of your oneness of life. For you have gone through many experiences that are not really real. They seem real and are real in the sense of time and space continuum, but in the sense of true reality of life eternal, they are here today and gone tomorrow, and they are not real in the sense of eternity. As you understand this a little, and as you move upward, you discard these concepts. As you are able, my dear ones, to look at another and accept them as you see them without judgment or criticism, you are getting closer to saying life is. And this individual that I am seeing is God appearing as Bill or Joe or Mary or whatever. When you begin to do this, you are moving closer to the reality of your being. When you can do this in all that you see, all that you experience, then you are free from these lower dimensions. This is the lesson tonight, is to not confound you with this saying, life is, but to help you to understand that as you turn loose of your judgments, as you release criticism and think to yourself, why does this person not do this, or why do they do that? As you release that and realize that everyone is where they are because of the level of their consciousness, and they are doing the best they can at that moment, with the understanding and the past conditioning that they have had on these lower dimensions. Do you see how much freedom you would have if you could turn loose of all these judgments? Do you see and understand that you could be free just to be the one life that you are, the one life that God is? And this is the reason for, and the answer for this class tonight, is to help you to move into that level of consciousness, that level of understanding that you and God are one. Already, you don't have to do anything to be this, because you already are. And by turning loose of this illusionary world, by turning loose of the childish things and maturing in your consciousness, you move into this understanding. And my dear ones, when you get a little glimpse of you and God as one, there's a great feeling of release. There's a great feeling of peace and joy and bliss. And maybe this will come, and maybe it will go, but as you move upward, move toward this understanding in all that you do, for it is the answer. The answer is within you. It always has been, and it always will be. For God is the life force that you are. You and God are one at this moment, as you always have been. And this is true for all creation. Let us pause for a moment and think of what has been said, and let us see if you have questions that you would like to ask this evening.
I like the idea that we are all one, and that one is the same intelligence, the same life, the same energy, and that sometimes it is brilliant, sometimes it is at the surface, but other times it is not seen, but we all have the same source, and that is wonderful. It gives you a sense of peace and security.
Yes, it does. And this is what everyone is looking for, is that inner security, that inner peace. And when you come to this understanding of your oneness with life, oneness with God, and oneness with all around you, then you have nothing to fear.
People are seeing it more. You see it every day. You see that all this upheaval is peace demanding to be heard.
Yes, it is. It is expressing outward to be free of the turmoil that is within. Those who have the greater turmoil and cause wars and this thing, and each one of you at times has this conflict within yourself. But those who are in a position to cause wars do not like what they find within themselves, and they're striving to get it out. And so they express it outwardly to be free of it. And when anyone is angry and directing it at you, you know who they are angry with. This has been told you many times, that they are always angry with themselves. Are there other questions this evening?
I have one.
Yeah.
There's about 3 people that I work with that when they come around me, sometimes I can just feel, I don't know if it's irritation or just it's the real negative feeling around them. Though they're nice people and I like them, but it's just something about when they come around me, they just have something around them. It doesn't seem to be angry, but I can't quite figure out what it is. It's like irritation.
There's much tension in the world, and as the vibratory rate increases each day, this calls on each one on this planet to move their consciousness a little higher. And when we resist this raising of our own vibrations within ourselves, this causes tension. When we look backward instead of forward and want to hold on to yesterday, this causes more tension than anything else. And if we can learn to relax and live in the moment and accept today as we find it, there are those that say life is not like it used to be in the good old days and this sort of thing.
It's getting better.
This is the only day there is, and the only day there ever will be, because the present is the here and now of eternity. And so it is on your realm at this time, and the whole universe is moving forward higher every day. And in this galaxy, in this part of the universe, it is accelerating, not just moving forward, it is accelerating. And when you can understand this and realize this and know that other people do not realize this and they resist this within themselves, instead of relaxing and going with the flow, as you say, they are resisting the change. And this causes the tensions within them. And this is behind, this simple answer is behind your drug problems. For many are resisting the change, the rapid changes that they are feeling, and they are taking the drugs to numb themselves to it. And then they get trapped in this and have to be there in that trap until they decide to turn loose of it.
When that Chinese boy stood out in front of that tank, it was as though all of life was talking to us. He no longer had squint eyes. He was like every one of us and magnified a great, great deal.
Yes. And there are many who are representing life in that way in your day and time that you do not know of. But this represented an experience.
Close.
Yes. And when you understand that you can stand your own ground, that you can be your own being without fear of who thinks what about it, then you are free. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes. It doesn't have much to do with this precise subject, but
Speak louder, please.
it has a lot to do with the past. A few years ago, was an experience I had with the time when I was just ready to move from the area known as Illinois to this area. And I was walking through the fields, and for some reason, that precise day, there was no birds that were seen. a precise day, one day out of each day that I've been in this world that I've seen. That could you tell me why those birds were not singing that precise day?
There are moments in your experience on these lower dimensions when you do move into other dimensions. There are moments that you need something extra. And it is like your movie, your show Twilight Zone. I try to speak in your language and in the things that you are familiar with, but it is not exactly as it is like the Twilight Zone, but it is something similar to that. Everyone has these experiences at times, but they may not recognize it. And you are like in another dimension. And as you are in that other dimension, time for you stops. And in that experience, you are fulfilled in some way that prepares you for your onward journey. Some of you may remember some of these experiences, and you may not. But if we could take a look at all of your past with a fine microscope, you might find that there are some there that you did not recognize. Do not be concerned about this. This is as it should be.
Which dimension was this? I have been as far as the sixth dimension in my travels. Which dimension was this?
It does not matter. When we start to number things and put labels on them, we lose the reality of it. And we come back again to the departure from life is. Life is on any dimension and every dimension. So be not concerned about this, but know that there is a reason and purpose behind everything. Are there other questions this evening?
I'd like to know if other people have experienced life seemed to be just stopped. I was on a bus one day, and every one of those people were absolutely like statues. They didn't move. No one was talking. I never saw such. It was just like a moving picture that was stopped. Have you had that experience?
Everyone, as I said, has this experience at times. Most of the time, you do not give it credit, and you think of it as maybe daydreaming or something like this. But there is a reason for it. And this I would not like to go into tonight, because each one of you has a different reason. But it is a fulfillment for you to prepare you for your ongoing journey.
Could this be of one reason that time is an illusion? That in the power of eternity there is no time?
Yes.
That this planet at present depends on time. And our experience with the time stopping is an example of a non-existent entity. Something that doesn't exist.
Yes, there is no time or space. This is your concept of duality. And because your sun seems to set and to rise, from your point of view, you need to go to work or you need to come to class at a certain time. We have been conditioned and programmed to believe in time and space and duality, and believe in you and I, as separate. And this is the main message tonight, is to help you to understand that there is but one life, and this one life is one with the Creator of all life. When you can move your consciousness in this direction and meditate on this oneness that you are with God, you will be able to move in to that oneness and feel the presence of God to some extent. And the higher you raise your consciousness, the more you feel the presence, and the more the bliss consciousness is there. This is the natural state. What you are experiencing now, for most of you on this plane, is unnatural in your understanding of the language.
Could you explain to me why
Speak louder, please.
Is there a reason why it seems at times that my spirit or my consciousness seems to move away from my situation?
You will have to speak louder.
I speak very well normally.
Well, you should sit closer to this individual then.
I had meetings today for a job interview and different other things I have done today. And many times I felt, and times beyond that, I felt that my spirit seems to pull away from the subject, pull away from the area. Like watching you, I can, well, not now, I'm stable, but many times I can feel the room increasing in length, as if you are a mile away instead of only 2 feet. This has happened many times, as if my spirit is unstable at the time, or if it's an oxygen deficiency in mind. But today, it has bothered me a little bit, and half the time I have to hang on to reality because I feel that I'm away from this.
Yes. My dear one, you are on the physical realm, and this has given you trouble. And you have pulled away from life, and in your just speaking so softly, you see, you are pulling away from life to that degree. And when I insist that you speak loudly, then you are coming back to yourself and to life as you find it on the physical plane. There is a part of you and of everyone else that would like to be back home with God, that yearns to move to that higher consciousness where we know our oneness with all life. And when that part of you takes more control than your conscious mind, then you lose part of this plane and you are not able to function as you should. I would encourage you to not encourage this feeling and to stand forth on this plane where you are and be what you are. But understand at the same time that you are one with all life, and you are the master of your life. You are the master of your soul, and everything that you see and everything that is in life. But when you withdraw, you are running away from life, and you do not get the experience as you should, as you intended when you came. It is that part of you not wanting to experience this physical plane. And there are many who do this and who sleep all the time, take drugs, or daydream all the time, refuse to accept where they are. And this is not knowing the truth. This is a running away. So be stern with yourself when this happens and say this is now, and this is where I am. I'm in this physical body, but I am the master of it, and I'm the master of my mind. Do you understand? Yes.
If I kept thinking that way,
You're
When
speaking
I-
low again.
would I project out of the room if my spirit or mind kept pulling away? Would it be possible to actually cease to exist in that moment? Actually project, physically project?
You are not here to project on this physical plane. You are here to have the experiences that are in front of you. And I encourage you to not move into daydreaming, wishes, fantasies. I encourage you to be where you are and to handle it in a way that you can get along on this plane and to experience this dimension and accept it as it is, but to know that there is much more. Now let us not talk about this anymore, because you should have the understanding that you need from this. Are there other questions this evening?
I'd like to go back to the question I asked earlier about the people that seem to be irritated.
Yes.
Sometimes when they come around me, I feel that they become more irritated. Is it something that I'm thinking, or is that just my overly sensitive attitude, or something I can do to help them with that?
Yes, you can send them love, and I'm sure that you do. But when someone is irritated or out of balance, and they see someone that is more in balance than they are, they may become irritated at this. Be not concerned about this, but realize they are doing the best that they can. Your concern about it adds to the problem, so-called. Do you understand?
Yes. Would it be best to just avoid them or just send them?
No, you are there, they are there. Accept them as they are and love them as they are, and be at peace about it. They are in God's hands, as everyone else is.
And we are one with them, even though there's a little irritation running around. Don't we draw that to us? I've seen, for instance, I thought other people were all wrong. And if I changed my own attitude, that person became a totally different person.
In your concepts, yes.
In their actions, I think I was responsible for their actions by my attitude when I met them.
Yes. We see things from the level of consciousness that we are. And when we are on a very low level of consciousness, we see the distortion. We see a lot of distortion. When we raise our consciousness a little higher, we see things more clearly. And it is not always the other individual changing. It is what we are perceiving, our perceptions. This may seem confusing to you because it seems so real to you, but nevertheless, it is your experience that happens inside of you that you experience, not the other individual. And you experience from your level of consciousness, wherever you are in your soul's growth.
Other people seem to us to be so different, and then all of a sudden they may say something, and we realize that we've been on the wrong track all along.
Yes, we do not always perceive things in others as they are. And it is not for us to judge them, just to love them. And when you come back to the subject of the class tonight, life is, it is not this or that or something else, then you eliminate the distortions that you see and experience that are not really real, and you see the God within them. Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
This is good to have the questions. It is good to open up, even for the smallest things of life, as you would say, because they are important to you. And when they're important to you, then you need to have the understanding. This is the reason for coming to these weekly nights and this circle of light, is to gain more enlightenment so that you will come closer to knowing that you are one with all life. Are there other questions this evening?
I have a friend who, in my opinion, is having self-destructive behavior.
Yes.
And I don't know. I don't. It's hard for me to accept that.
It is not your business to accept it or not to accept it. It is for you to send them God's love and release them to God. This is the way that you can help them if they can be helped at that moment. It is their free will to be whatever they are, and it is not for you to decide what they should be. Do you understand?
Yes.
It is difficult for us to accept the distortions that we see, and it is difficult for us to not be in the perfection or the oneness of life that we truly are. And when we become disturbed, realize that it is not what we are seeing that disturbs us, but it is that we have a desire to be back home with God in the fullness of our knowing. And say to yourself, I am now one with God in all fullness. Now is the only time there is, and I am one with all life, and I have full knowing and understanding. Whether you understand this in your conscious awareness matters not, but you are declaring the truth. And when you do this, then you eliminate the confusion and distortions from your mind, and it helps not to form a pattern that works against you. Yes, are there other questions?
Such seems, thank you very much. That information is pleased. I just simply say that I am one with God, and I am here now. I think that will help me to stop going away, stop going.
Remember to do it. Remember to do it. And stand on the foundation of your understanding. This is why you come to places like this, is to understand more of life. And your foundation, your inner foundation, is built out of understanding what life truly is, not what it appears to be from your point of view on the physical plane, but what it truly is. And when you come closer to having a clear light of understanding, then it helps you to be at peace. It helps you to see clearly and to move on your journey upward.
If we say to ourselves,
Put some
we
water in this hand.
accept God's plan fully, will that help us?
everything that is a positive affirmation, as you think of it, can help you from declaring the untruth. When you are confused and when you know not what to do, say, God and I are one at this moment. I am in the fullness of life with all of life. This will bring you back to center, as you might think, and you will not be distorting your life force in many directions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
In the last couple of weeks, talking with family and friends, and just thinking on my own, I've been aware of pinpointing moments in my life that we on the earth plane consider miracles, happenings in my life particularly. And I think I'm getting to the point where I can look at I can look at some of the simplest things that I've taken for granted as almost as miraculous in reference to defining it as a miracle as some of these more outstanding situations, for lack of better words.
Yes.
I feel good, but I feel good thinking that way, because isn't that really the way it is in everything that's going on in our definition of what we call a miracle? Really what's happening in the earth plane?
Yes, miracles are happening at all times. Your being able to talk, your having life force is a miracle as you think of it in your term and your understanding of what miracle is. Miracle is that we are speaking from this dimension to you and are conversing, and remember that your teachers and your guides are here projecting love into your hearts. Remember that there are many others that are here to learn just as you are, and they are learning. They are learning from you as they go with you, some of them. They're learning from your experiences. This is a miracle, is it not?
Yes.
We are continually having miracles. Every breath that you take is a miracle that turns into your oxygen, into your blood, and feeds your body. And much more is in the breath that you take than you realize.
Part of the miracles then that we've grown up to understand in reference to the Bible, just ways of trying to disassociate ourselves with our real selves, in reference to comparing, let's say, our earth life to miracles that Jesus had performed.
Whenever you understand who you truly are, then you can do all the things that Jesus did and more. And he declared this: you are at this moment one with God. And if you are one with God, then you are a creator as God is a creator. God is continually giving life force to this whole universe, is he not? Just as your electricity flows into this house, giving you heat and light. And when you realize that your body, your physical body, and all the organs, and you know not, but there are many other finer bodies, but just your physical body is a miracle as to how it works. And you are in your physical body as you are in your automobile. You are using it for transportation and to be in touch with this physical plane through your 5 physical senses. But when you go into meditation and disassociate yourself from your body, then you can experience more of the within and turn off the outer world and get closer to the God within you. This is a miracle. And when you have that feeling of God's presence, and when you feel answers coming to you from within yourself, maybe you think, oh, this is just my thoughts. My dear ones, very few of you have original thoughts.
So they are all shared thoughts.
Speak louder.
They're all shared thoughts. Is what we think.
There are a lot of thoughts floating around that we pick up, yes. But when you learn to listen from within and hear the voice of God, whether it is through your guides and teachers or someone else, it matters not. It is all God, for there is only one life. And when you learn to discern the truth from the untruth, then that is a miracle, is it not? There is much, much to learn. And as you turn loose of your fears that cause illusion on your physical plane, then you can walk this physical plane free of the burdens that you have taken onto yourself, and you can feel the lightness of weight and the lightness of brilliancy, and you can feel the presence of God all around you. You can feel His love for you, and you can give it back when you give it to others unconditionally. When you can learn to love unconditionally, my dear ones, you are free in a very wonderful way of putting conditions on your love.
Is it all right instead of seeing faults in other people, if we just declare these people are one with God, whether they realize it or not, or whether we realize it or not? Is that all right?
This is all right if that is what you need to do. There will come a time, my dear one, when you do not even see it as a fault, but as an experience.
Thank you.
And there is a difference, you see. It is an experience.
You can just cut the one off.
Yes. And through experience, we grow. If we can understand that there is no good or evil, there is no duality, there is no you or I, there is one life. Life is. You see how we are injecting this into our conversation this evening and into the questions and answers?
It's good this evening.
Yes. Are there other questions this evening? I would have you to use your inner image at this moment and see this light, this circle, as a circle of light, and see a dome of light above this circle that moves upward. And as you go through your days, project back in your thoughts to this room and to this time when we are together, and have a greater feeling of oneness because we are discussing this subject. When you go through your days and your life experiences, remember and hold on to the understanding of this oneness. Hold on to your freedom from misconceptions, from illusion. When you are troubled about anything or fearful of anything, you are dealing with illusion or untruth. So go back to something that you know that is true, and let the light shine in your mind and in your consciousness and give you the understanding. Instead of progressing with the negative thought and the fearful thought, as you do so much of the time, stop it in its tracks and remember who you truly are. And if you have to say it out loud or very strongly to yourself, God is, life is, I am one with all life, I am one with God at this moment, and the truth of God is within me, then you have eliminated a journey of destruction that you may have carried on for several minutes or maybe the full day. As you look into the inner you, see God there. As you stop to think about yourself, feel God. I would have you to think this moment, do you feel that you are alive? Do you feel the life force that you are? What is this? It is God. You cannot be separated from the life that you are. You cannot be separated from God. And so when you forget for a moment and become fearful, then remember that you are alive and that life force is continually flowing through you, animating you, and this is God.
And God never forgets.
No, He always is, always has been, is now, and always will be. Do you have other questions this evening? This has been a class of things that are difficult for you to comprehend in the fullness. But as you think about it this week, as you sit down to become quiet, let your mind say to you, life is, I am one with God, and the life that I am is God. When you do this, feel the presence of God's love for you. Use your inner image. Use what your teacher has called assuming the role, and allow this to come forth into your conscious awareness. Allow yourself to remember who you truly are and to experience it. It is yours to experience, but you have the freedom to not experience it and think about your troubles and problems. It is much better, my dear ones, to remember that you are God and that God loves you, and His love is flowing through you right now. God bless you, my dear ones, and good evening.
Thank you.
Shall we hold hands? Let us think of ourselves coming together in the physical as we have been in spirit, and bringing this understanding, the enlightenment of the life that we